This video is brought to you in part by Chrono.gg. Chrono.gg is a great website that sells one video game per day at an incredibly low price. If you want to support myself and a good outlet for picking up your games, check out chrono.gg/downwardthrust. If you could imagine the biggest pickle a company could work their way into, I think the award would definitely go to Battlefront 2 and EA. On November 17, 2017, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was released, and it was definitely one of the craziest times to be a gamer. Just like the Imperial Walkers on Hoth, Battlefront 2 was going to be assaulted by an army of first-person shooting fans. The attack on EA would encompass multiple fronts, the game and of course the progression. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've already covered it in prior videos, but let me just set the stage for what would develop into the paradox that is Battlefront 2 today. Battlefront 2 was the biggest story of the year, not encompassing the game's strengths, but the strangling and foul micro-gambling system that was inside the game. Fresh off the chopping block, it was a pay-to-win game that gave advantages to players who did pay extra money to open more loot crates. It was that simple. The leverage materialized as stat-boosting star cards, the problem being that each star card had, for some reason, multiple rarities, each better than the last. Collecting the highest tier essentially made you flat out more powerful if you could get the ones that were most shiny. For a couple days prior to EA pulling the system, people gorged themselves like kids at a candy store. Before you could even blink 3 times, the game filled up with players decked out in fully epic loadouts, which gave them a clear competitive advantage over other players, literally before the game had its mainstream launch. It's often debated how much advantage one could garner from the acquisition of high-tier star cards. In short, it was big enough of a deal to make you rage every time you got killed by the enemy, haunted by the sickly notion that those 3 purple star cards could have been the reason you were killed and he was not. Up to 50% of a player's ability could be boosted at max star card rank, whether it be damage, range, or power to name a few, so definitely unfair. It was possible definitely to have a player death exist not affected by a star card, but it doesn't really matter, just the idea itself was enough to leave a sour aftertaste in the mouth. Just the question that there was even a slight possibility that the playing field was not equal upon the engagement was more than enough of a reason to stop playing, and many people definitely stopped playing. It just was not a good mix. This is your classic meat grinder video game, low time to kill, high powered weapons, no recoil, and mosh pit objectives. Small advantages add up when large player counts get together in tight spaces. Action-filled environments can accentuate the balance of power when you can so readily die and without much warning. So yeah, those star cards did make a big difference. The Battlefront 2 paradox is now looming its ugly head though, amidst a substantial update that completely revamped the progression system. You now obtain star cards as you level up through spending skill points, and each character and class has a specific level. The more you play something, the more stuff you unlock. It's classic first-person shooting progression. All the heroes have also been made available to everybody. The system's really great and has been a testament in the industry for God knows how long. You play the game, they trickle new content to you, and you progress in a manner that allows for an even playing field given proper matchmaking. Despite the change though, which I do admit is very good, it's a little bit too late, as it still leaves the game in a state of paradox. That is because they did not reset the star cards people had obtained during its time as a pay-to-win game. Even after the patch, players still get to keep everything they once had, so everyone with decked out star cards is still going to be overpowered as hell. New players or players who quit, which there were a hell of a lot of, are starting from square one versus players who are crazy powerful. So what EA has really done is increase the time that the power gap will take to fill between players of different skill levels. For everyone who does not have those cards, they will have to grind their way to get them, and it's going to take a long time. While progression in Battlefront 2 is really great today, it's also a really big time sink. This would have been totally fine if EA had simply refunded the investments that players had in their star card collections, essentially retrofitting the game back to a vanilla state. Basically to position the game with a hard reset, equalizing all aspects of the game. I believe that EA did not do this because that would have meant losing out on potentially millions of dollars of micro-gambling monies. So who the hell would actually want to do that anyway? Definitely not EA. And that's the big pickle, because now we are in the same spot as we were in its initial launch. Lots of high-powered players and then everyone else chasing them with no star cards or common star cards. But instead, this time a bunch of commitments stands in the way versus a randomized 4-money loot box system. Which is better? That's up to you. But I would hope that this was a decision that EA considered deeply, as it does affect the happiness of those who play the game. But as it stands right now, Battlefront 2 is in a state of paradox. New players have a huge grind in their way in order to normalize the power among competitive matches in the game, which is a job that is for the developer, not the player. I would have reset the game because I believe new players are going to have a miserable time playing against overpowered players once again. At the moment, matchmaking also seems to be completely random, pitting new players together with those who are really good, which is going to once again amplify the issue. And those players are also very knowledgeable about the game. So what we really have with Star Wars Battlefront 2 right now are overpowered players who are also very skilled regarding the game, especially those who have been playing, while the majority of us in the Battlefront 2 community have been hibernating like polar bears waiting for this patch. It's no surprise that matches of Battlefront 2 play out very similar every single game. You have 2 or 3 really good players dominating the leaderboard and making it incredibly miserable for those that try to stop them. Veteran players know how to vehicle rush and get points fast. They always get the heroes first, and when you combine that with the fact that they are decked out in epic star cards from the beginning, the paradox starts to unveil itself. The current landscape of Battlefront 2, thus, is a small portion of skilled players with the best cards in the game, and a large portion of players who are forced to climb a giant wall of progression to compete with them and to gain the knowledge of the game. If they had just done the right thing and reset the game by refunding all acquired star cards, then playing Battlefront 2 wouldn't be a polarizing experience. It doesn't bring me happiness to report this because I actually think EA had a shot to come back from all the crap they pulled with the game at launch. But greed got the better of them, and I don't think that new players will enjoy the uneven playing field that is to this day prevalent in Battlefront 2, just like it was at launch. Before I wrap up this video though, just a quick announcement from your boy Tone Loc over here. I'm going to open up a comment chain down below in the comments section. I'm going to do my first community inspired video. So what I want you to do, if you have an idea for a video on this channel that you want to see featured or you want to see me make, comment down below and I'm going to pick the best one and probably make the video in a couple weeks featuring your idea. So make sure to comment down below and let me know what you guys want to see from your boy Tone Loc featured on Downward Thrust below. All I want is the name of the video and what you want the thumbnail to say. I will figure out the rest. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this particular video, you can go ahead and thumbs it up, and if you did not, then I'm sure you'll thumbs it down too. Either way, would love to hear your feedback in the comment section, and you guys have a kick-ass day. We're gonna see you in a few days with our next video.